Oh, good evening. I wasn't expecting to speak, so I didn't write a speech. I'm going to talk about transparency, though. So I do want to thank you for a couple of transparency things that I've seen. One, cameras are on for this meeting, so I appreciate that. Loved ones are able to see people get recognized. You're able to see body language from you all and from the speakers. So I really do appreciate that. Councilmember Green pointed out that more things are put on the calendar now, such as committee meetings. So that helps the public be more informed. That helps them actually show up to some of these committee meetings. So I do appreciate that better act of transparency that y'all have done. Now, I'm going to get to data centers and transparency. And I'm actually going to work my way backward. So this morning I was listening to the radio. Mayor Colvin was on there. Malik was on there. Mayor, you keep saying this 120-day stay is actually protecting us. That's a falsehood. That is not true. It does not protect us. The only thing that protects us would be a moratorium. The lawyer has said that to you. So please quit spreading falsehoods on the radio. I would appreciate that. There's another thing you said, and it was about hosting meetings to hear from the community. Y'all have not hosted any meetings. Zero. This is a public forum. We are showing up to talk about what we want to talk about. What we want to talk about is data centers. Anytime y'all could have called a special meeting and held, 2-3 hour meeting, had 60 people speak, be done with it. Maybe listen to them, start the moratorium process. Maybe get on with our business in the city instead of this silly fight we're having. This is not hard. It really is not hard. So those are the two things I noticed this morning. Malik, I do appreciate your thoughts on the visit y'all had up in Virginia. Some things that could be improved with the UDO. I did hear you, Mayor Colvin, about some things that could be improved. So I do appreciate those thoughts. Now I also want to go back to July, and I want to talk to you, Mayor Pro Tem Thompson. I went to a community watch meeting, and you said the same thing about the 120-day stay. You said a falsehood to the community. So please don't lie to the community. Please tell the truth. This 120-day stay does nothing to protect the community. Does nothing to protect us from data center development. The only thing that protects us is a moratorium. That's the truth. That's all we're asking for is the truth. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right. Let me clarify 2 points. Typically, the public forum is for you to have opportunity to speak to us, and we typically don't respond. But we're addressed directly. Mayor Pro Tem was, and so if you're going to quote me, Mr. Schwab, and they can go back and listen to it.
You don't have to respond.
Yeah, well, I don't need to tell me that, but yes, sir.
Let's keep it moving.
He's speaking to me. Excuse me, Councilmember, and I'll acknowledge if you need to be. But don't imply that there was a falsehood because they can listen to it. No one said the 120 days was the protection. In fact, what was said this morning was that the ordinance is the protection and moratoriums are pauses or permanent versus that. So anyone that wants to listen to WIDU can do it. Since it was directly stated, I wanted to make sure
you could just
we're
listen.
Not going
you
to
do not
be,
have
yeah.
to.
Councilmember.
Hi, good evening. Thank you. All right. My name's Destiny Beard. I actually came with a different speech today, but I've been here since 3. I live and work and my children play 3 miles from where the Terra Nexus project is proposed. I am technically outside of city limits, but it's important to know that my concerns aren't, confined by city limits or county lines or zoning districts. They're regional concerns, and our communities do share the same resources, and we live with the same long-term decisions and consequences that will be made. I'm not someone who's easily persuaded by sensational headlines or social media outrage. My concerns about data centers are not based on fear or politics. They come from taking the time to research the issue from multiple perspectives. And after reviewing the available information that we have, I struggle to understand how we can conclude these concerns have been answered well enough to move forward with establishing UDOs on next Monday. Mr. Briggs, whose presentation I sincerely did appreciate today, said, "When we move too fast, we make mistakes," and I couldn't agree more. I also hope this council will continue to rely on people like him as regulations are developed and, just as importantly, as they're monitored and enforced over time. We cannot create a framework for future development before we fully understand the long-term consequences of the type of development we are preparing to allow. One of the experts today acknowledged that there are still questions that cannot yet be answered. That alone tells me we should be cautious about adopting permanent UDOs before we have those answers. I don't say that from a place of fear, but from a plea of wisdom. When the potential consequences are significant and the long-term impacts are still uncertain, caution is not opposition. It's responsible leadership. And I've heard the arguments in favor of data centers, talking about economic development, technological advancement, national security. But I still have one question. If the cost of those benefits is placing additional strain on our already challenged water resources or creating risks to the health and well-being of the people who live here, then what have we truly secured? Economic growth and technological advancement are valuable, but they should never come at the expense of the very resources that sustain life in our communities. These concerns deserve careful consideration before UDOs are adopted that may shape our community for decades to come. Tonight, I'm asking this council not to move faster than our understanding allows. I'm requesting we move slowly and responsibly, ensuring that progress protects both the people and the natural resources that make this community a place we can even call home. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I know I haven't really been considered because of where we live, but I really do have concerns, and I think that I'm not necessarily anti-data centers, but I'm definitely not for them based off what we know right now. And I appreciate you allowing people to speak and bringing in people that you did today, and I hope that we will listen and go slow and do things right, because I feel like we only have one chance to get this right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Our next speaker is Ms. Arlene Fields.
Good evening, Ms. Fields.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. So I actually was planning on yielding my time, but since so many people seemed otherwise occupied, I guess it's meant to be. So, Mr. Mayor and Councilman Davis, I appreciate you going on WIDU this morning to talk about your experiences visiting the data centers. And Mayor, you mentioned that data center developers can mitigate water, power, noise, and related issues, but as Mr. Briggs of AIT noted during the work session this afternoon, they're not going to automatically do it. We have to make sure that they do. And Councilman Davis, you talked about April, one of the Loudoun County representatives that you met with, and you said that she said, make sure you guys get it right for the people. And here are some ways that I think we can get it right. First, take passing the proposed UDO updates off the table. Regulations are moving in the NC legislature, and we don't want our ordinances to conflict with state level laws and have to redo them. Second, I'm calling for a 12-month moratorium. The AI industry is changing so fast that even if you institute a moratorium until December, that's not nearly enough time for the dust to settle on this industry. And as was made clear in this afternoon's presentations, AI and data centers are not going away. But as I've said before we jump on this data center train, we need to make sure we know what direction it's going. So, thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Mayor, our next speaker is Mr. Jeremy Dozer. Mr. Jeremy Dozer? Not present. Our next speaker is Ms. Janet Menzak.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Idolatry and avarice. That, council members, is what many of you have been fallen victim to. The worship of wealth and power over God. You have seen the dollar signs attached to bringing data centers into our city, and that has blinded you to the harms you will be responsible for inflicting on the citizens of this town. I saw this plainly in a recent video clip I've watched of Mayor Mitch on a local radio show speaking about how Cumberland County voted to reject Comores, but they built in Bladen County instead. Your argument summed up basically was that Bladen County got all the tax revenue and we paid for all the cleanup. Basically, and then your statement was, let's not make the same mistake with Chemours, but with different consequences. So you know there's consequences, right? But what's more important is that we get the money, right, Mitch? That's all that really matters. Those words are out there forever, Mr. Mayor. And when the people of this city see a lowered quality of life from air and water pollution, they will remember who let it happen. All of you up there who vote for these weak UDOs with no protections or requirements for the data centers to filter their wastewater, to provide their own clean energy source, that is what you will be responsible for. That will be your legacy. Your children and your grandchildren will curse you for not standing up for them, even if you thought it might not matter. The federal government might just force the data centers through anyway, and you will have resisted for nothing. Make no mistake, people, this is the existential issue of our time. The evil and greed disguised as national security and economic development. As the citizens of the town after town sue and vote their council members out and get arrested and thrown out of meetings for standing up what they believe in, we are the ones on the right side of history. We are the patriots, the righteous warriors. You up there on the podium, you are the shills for big tech, the idolaters. You can tell yourselves all you want, the data centers are coming whether you want them or not. That lie will not absolve you. We know it is within your power to simply say we do not want this in our city. And we can draft ordinances so strict that most developers will pass Fayetteville by. And yes, city might get sued, the data centers pushed through anyway, but at least you would have saved your souls. At least you would have proved to the people of this city who elected you, who trusted you, that you had our best interests in mind. Your pride and your greed has told you that you know better. Just remember, we aren't going away after this vote is over. We aren't going to stop coming to meetings and yelling at you. We will continue to call for boycotts of your businesses. You can whine all you want about political bullying, Mr. Hondros. In fact, the issue of your foolishness has ensured that every line item of every future endeavor of this council be watched and scrutinized to the letter. More than that, it has become all too clear that you are far too comfortable in your jobs. That is going to change, and I hope everyone in this room and everyone watching at home will join me in making it a personal mission to get a charter changed for us to allow us to recall you. In the meantime, I suggest you all take a long, hard look at the decision you are about to make and who you are ultimately accountable to, and may He have mercy on you.
Mayor, our next speaker is Miss Mia Clavon.
Yeah.
I've never done this before and I'm really nervous.
Thank you for making me politically active. Mayor, council members, I'm Mia and I live off Pamela. I speak loud, so I'm going to stand for. Last town hall, your argument was that this brings jobs. So let's look at the reports. For hyperscale data centers, not the one you guys toured, but the hyperscale data centers, actual permanent staffing can be as low as 10% of the number originally promised. Google New York, 125 permanent jobs were promised, currently only houses 35. QTS, New Albany, Ohio promised 10 jobs per building with 4 planned buildings and delivered only 25. And they're not alone. Permanent staffing rarely materializes at the scale that they promise. We were promised how many jobs? Let's talk about our past decisions here. Fire Station 4 on Bragg Boulevard, originally projected to cost $8 million, ballooned to over $9 million, finalized at $9.4 million. Contract with W.B. Brawley and the engineers, was completely demolished, and now it's just this giant eyesore on Bragg Boulevard. Nobody knows what to do about it. Okay, and then we've got the Apex Contracting Group abandoning 4 city construction projects worth $7.9 million, and there was zero accountability for this company, even after questions surrounding their campaign contributions came out. Sager Stadium was pitched as a catalyst for downtown revitalization. The final cost, $37 million, $10 million over the original budget. Why are we repeating the same pattern? We're just asking you guys to slow down, please. Okay? Because governments at every level, from townships to Congress, have been debating, advocating for, and passing legislation that would ban, limit, or restrict the construction of data centers. Prince George County, Denver, Cumberland County, Charlotte, and the entire state of Maine just have paused and delayed construction on data centers. So why are we, Fayetteville, rushing this? What's the emergency? Seriously, were you guys this confident in your past projects to override your constituents' expressed desires? I am not a political person, and I'm here right now. Have y'all considered what happens when the drought hits? Water rationing becomes necessary due to these data centers. When your lights start flickering like, I don't know, Loudoun County, Virginia, due to grid strain, how many residents can afford it? Who's going to compensate the underprivileged? What happens when the AI bubble pops and leaves us all with this giant abandoned monstrosity, just like Fire Station 4? I want a total ban, but I know that's not even an option, and Congress isn't even pushing that. So can we just pass a 1-year moratorium? Because I really don't want to be forced to bathe in cancer water filled with PFAS. And I don't want my air pollution. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Mayor, our next speaker is Miss Kristen Starks. Miss Kristen Starks, not present. Our next speaker is Fern Davis.
Long time no see. Same issue though. Honestly, I expected to go much later, and I was going to riff on what other people said, but that didn't work out. I guess everyone's on vacation. Look, you guys know the pluses and minuses. I'm not going to pretend that you don't. You do. And you're probably going to do what you want to do anyway. That's what the city council here typically does, and what we've all learned to expect from you all. Last time I was here, I asked you to prove me wrong. I'm still asking you, prove me wrong. Yeah, you guys went and saw data centers in other places. I get that. But that's kind of like when my grandmother came over as a kid and my mama made us clean the house for 3 days straight beforehand, right? So that my grandmother would think that's how the house always looked, even though it's not. Don't buy that hook, line, and sinker. Come on now, okay? I live in East Fayetteville, right? And I know there is a propensity in this city especially to be like, hey, we need to throw dollars at East Fayetteville because it's historically not been taken very well care of. This ain't the way. Okay, you know there ain't going to be enough jobs. You all know that. Man, sorry, I had a plan. It just went out of my head. So, what are we doing here? You know you're trying to rush this through. Why? Why? I don't understand. Because this data center ain't going to dig us out of the hole that Fayetteville's been dug into by the mismanagement of some of the people on the city council. Okay? And the thing with data centers that y'all are not seeming to think about is this is the biggest issue domestically in the country right now. We ain't going to forget this like we did Fire Station 4 or the dozens of other mismanaged projects that have gone on the last 20 years in this city. It ain't going to be that. People are not going to forget. They're not going to forgive. So you ignore that at your peril. And I mean your peril for your elections, since y'all seem to be a little sensitive about people being upset with you. Okay? So, I'm sorry. You ran for office and you ain't listening. You started the meeting, Mr. Mayor, talking about respect. But I've been in these meetings and I've seen y'all roll your eyes. I've seen you scoff. And yeah, I know that we can be a little bit challenging. I know I can be a little bit of a jerk with the way I speak. You signed up for it. You ran for office. I didn't run for office. You did. So lead us. Also, there is a lack of imagination on this city council for what this city could be. You are so focused on the base, and you're so focused on taking money from defense contractors and out-of-state corporations that you refuse to invest in the actual people here and the talent here to keep people here. You notice how many few young people in this room right now? That's because they leave the moment they can. Because this city ain't got anything for them. That's your legacy if you don't do something different. And yeah, we're going to have no water coming soon too. So if that's the legacy you want, cool. Just understand that the margins that y'all won by last election are not that big, and you can be voted out. It's doable. So ignore that at your peril.
Mayor, Our next speaker is Miss Lorena Murray.
Good afternoon. Evening.
Thank you. Good evening, City Council members, Mayor Colvin, and citizens of Fayetteville. City Council members, thank you for visiting some data centers, including our own small data center, AIT. I'm sure you're able to see and hear good information from the companies that run data centers. Were you able to talk to people in the surrounding areas who study the environmental impacts? Were you able to talk to the neighbors? Okay, last month I participated in a town hall in which we studied the proposed changes to the UDOs. We took all those UDOs, divided them up table by table, and let a random group of people study those UDOs. Now, these were not a lot of political activists. Sure, some of the people running the thing were political activists, but these were ordinary people and some politicians. You might have read about it in the Observer. These are some of the concerns mentioned. Data centers would be permitted too close to neighborhoods with not enough setback. The UDOs do not address low-frequency noise, which is proven to cause sleep disturbance and stress-related symptoms. Do y'all know what that means by low-frequency noise? I don't, but we had some expert that was studying that. The noise decibels permitted are too high for day and night. They don't address water or energy usage. They permit diesel generators with little regard to the air pollution they permit. Maybe over 100 diesel generators at one mega data center. And they don't address water pollution, other than to say, whatever the EPA says is what we'll do. So now also, the Southern Environmental Law Center has studied our proposed UDO changes, and they find that they have merit, but they're lacking in some crucial areas. First of all, data centers would be allowed in the wrong places, not just heavy industrial, but other places. Don't ask me all the names of all the zoning. I don't know all those terms, but I know not just heavy industrial. And all data centers ought to be subject to a special use permit process so that we all have a chance to say something about them. The proposed noise rules won't protect neighbors' sleep or well-being because noise should be limited to 50 decibels during the day and 40 at night. And the following types of noise should be prohibited. And if you know what these are, great, I do not. Pure tone, narrow band, tonal, and low-frequency noise that exceed the ambient background levels at residential properties. I know I sent you all Southern Environmental Law Center information. If you need this information, let me know and I can get it to you. This was given to me by somebody else. Data center buildings and equipment would be allowed too close to homes. The setback should be at least 1,000 feet for all data center buildings. And I have more to say, but please vote for a moratorium so that we can study all this. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Mr. Charles Houston.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening, council men, council ladies, fellow citizens. Good evening. My name is Charles Benjamin Houston. I represent students, families, and residents who deserve answers before this council commits Fayetteville to a decision we cannot undo. Loudoun County, Virginia hosts the largest data center market on moratoriums. Excuse me, my notes. I know I can't start my time, but I've got to start over here. I'm an 18-year Army Civil Affairs veteran, a Fayetteville school teacher, and a resident who has worked in this community at every level, including custodial work at Westover Hills Elementary, where our summer maintenance was delayed because of water supply issues at that school. I say that so this council understands. I am not speaking in abstractions. I have mopped these floors. I have served this country. I teach these children. And I attended the UDO meetings where I reviewed the ordinances this city currently has in place. They are insufficient. The protections are not there. Loudoun County, Virginia, hosts the largest data center market on Earth. In 2024, they imposed a moratorium. Wake County updated their Unified Development Ordinance with mandatory noise limits, traffic impact analysis, and utility capacity verification. These are our neighbor communities in North Carolina. Fayetteville deserves the same standard they demanded for themselves. Here is what the data shows. A typical hyperscale data center employs 50 to 100 permanent workers on 500 acres. It consumes up to 500 million gallons of water per day. Westover could not get consistent water pressure for summer maintenance. Now we are asking what happens to the city's water infrastructure when an industrial facility draws millions of gallons daily. EPA environmental justice data consistently shows these facilities land in lower income communities and communities of color. Fayetteville fits that pattern exactly. My civil affairs training taught me to assess how decisions impact communities on the ground, not on paper. This decision has not cleared that bar. North Carolina now criminalizes tent encampments for the unhoused. Cumberland County has one homeless shelter. My church in Rayford serves our neighbors in need and sends overflow to the Salvation Army. And on many nights, those beds are full too. This council speaks of economic development. The community asking for that development tonight sleeps outside because we have nowhere to put them. That is the infrastructure gap that deserves urgent attention. I need this council on the record tonight. Did any council member sign a non-disclosure agreement with the developer? Did the city commission an independent fiscal impact analysis, or did the developer provide the only economic projections? Ladies and gentlemen, my students are watching, and 30 years from now, they'll want to know what these answers are. Thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Miss Lisa Greathouse.
Good evening, Ms. Greathouse.
Good evening. Lisa Greathouse, District 5. Testifying in front of a Senate hearing committee in February 1967, astronaut Frank Borman was asked, "How on earth could this have happened? How could 3 men die in a simple test?" The senator was speaking about the capsule fire that consumed the lives of 3 Apollo astronauts. After thinking for a few moments, Borman replied, "Senator, it was a failure of imagination. No one ever imagined such a thing could ever happen, so we never planned for it. NASA was under a great deal of pressure to beat Russia to the moon and to achieve Kennedy's initiative to have an American on the moon before the 1960s decade. Numerous testimonies by NASA employees in the aftermath of the fire. They stated they were made to move too fast. They needed to slow down. What if NASA had declared a moratorium on spaceflight? I'm not speaking of the legal action that the city moratorium would concern. Just wondering, what if? What if NASA employees had been given more time to think, to plan, to imagine? What if a moratorium made for safer data centers? A 1-year moratorium would give the city staff and those writing and developing the UDOs a chance to find answers to a myriad of questions using their skills, their knowledge, their networks, and to imagine potential hazards. Data centers are a danger to our health and well-being for all of us. That's including Mother Nature. Mother Nature is another way we reference God. What is so bad about passing a moratorium? Yes, we will still end up at a UDO stage, but imagine how more complete and comprehensive the UDOs will be with the time a moratorium allows. It will give staff time to use their imagination to consider the countless risks involved in data centers. And who knows, maybe even save lives.
Madam Clerk.
Mayor, our next speaker is Mr. Floyd Wicker.
Good evening, Reverend Wicker.
Thank you so much. I'm supposed to be in a meeting tonight, but I tried to hang on as much as I could, and I'm late for the meeting, but I'm glad to be here with you all tonight. First, I'd like to say good evening, Mr. Mayor, and members of the Fayetteville City Council. I'd like to thank you all for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. I come before you tonight as a resident of 17 years or more. I believe that Fayetteville has the opportunity to become something greater than a community whose identity is defined primarily as the Pentagon South, Vietnam, or that which we know as Fort Bragg. As you strive for ways to lift this community out of its perennial Tier 1 status, I urge you tonight to begin looking at industries that promote a better quality of life for all of its residents, industries that promote world peace since we are the all-American city, industries that promote education. We just acknowledged a wonderful principal and all of her staff. Some of our schools in the city of Fayetteville are closing. But I urge you tonight to begin looking at industries that promote economic equality and beloved community, as opposed to businesses and communities that support the lucrative, I mean the lucrative, war economy. You know, we spend about $1 trillion a year preparing for war. In these economies, listen to what they lead to. They lead to violence, more violence, like handgun violence down all around the city, death, domination, supremacy, and destruction. So I believe it is time for a new vision for Fayetteville. And guess what? I believe God has given me some vision. I'm excited about it too. But I believe it is time for a new vision, a vision which holds up the high ideals of reconciliation. That's what we need to be teaching our children at that educational school, at that middle school or elementary school. That's what we need to be talking to our children about. Nonviolence, diplomacy, and peace building. You see, every dollar invested in supporting and promoting the military-industrial complex, of which drones, data centers are a major role, I think they're linked, is a dollar that cannot be invested in neighborhoods, our schools, our parks, our clean water, public transportation.
Okay. Thank you, Reverend Wicker.
Oh man, I'm just getting good.
I'm getting ready for that sermon, man.
Miss Theresa Burns. She's here. Okay.
Good evening, Ms. Burns.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. I am here again to make an argument for a data center moratorium. One of the things that I dislike most is the cloak and dagger scenario that we have. Things that aren't put out in the open that you have to find out, like where are these data centers being put. I have a good idea of another one, and I'm going to keep an eye on it. And that we as the people don't really know what's good for us. The very reason clean water was used before a closed loop system in the first place because it was cheapest. The negative aspects regarding the public, they just didn't care. It was business, and it was chosen over the health and welfare of the people, their health and environment, the constant noise pollution of the turbine engines affecting mental health, the constant emission of turbine engines affecting respiratory health. The deceptive marketing buzzword of closed loop does not mean zero impact. It does not mean zero contamination. They require chemical water treatments and undergo periodic blowdown flushes, discharging wastewater into the municipal sewer systems. The random testing in another municipality ended in revoking the wastewater permit after they found drug-resistant bacteria. We need a commission agency that has been created to ensure the data centers are putting the health and welfare of the surrounding community at the top where it's supposed to be. This commission should include members of the public that the City Council is supposed to serve. Routine and surprise inspections of those appointed. We can't allow the data centers to police themselves. They're not going to do it. And we need to make the data centers pay for all necessary upgrades to the grid in the area due to their use, and not 1 cent be passed down to the consumer, who we don't want it, but you're going to make us pay for it anyway. It doesn't make sense. The consumers do not have the billions or the millions as the data centers do. And all these concerns are why a 1 to 3 year moratorium is necessary. We're not going to argue what some people say is inevitable, but just give us time. We need more time.
Thank you, Ms. Burns. Madam Clerk.
Mayor, our next speaker is Miss Alexis McHargue, and I apologize if I messed that up.
Good evening, Ms. Mahargy.
Good evening, and it is McHargue. Thank
Oh,
you.
McHargue, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I know it's a tricky one, no worries. Good evening to the members of the City Council and to my fellow citizens. Webster's dictionary defines integrity as firm adherence to a code, especially moral, or incorruptibility. Most of us consider it to be doing the right thing when no one is watching. I would like to thank the council members who are effectively representing their delegation and advocating for the best outcome for our community. And now I would like to address the rest of the council and Mayor Colvin directly. If you refuse to reject the data centers outright, the least you can do is legislate protections for us. DuPont renamed after the scandal to Chemours in order to distance themselves from the outcome. They destroyed our public waterways. I was born here at Cape Fear Valley Hospital, and I went to Grays Creek High School, which is right down the road from Gallberry Elementary. I remember when we were out of school for a week after the discovery of the PFAS in our water. And I remember at 16 thinking, how long have we been exposed to this if we've just now discovered it and we're out of school for a week because we can't cook food? Gallberry took almost a decade to have clean water after the event. The city of Fayetteville deserves better, and we need to set the precedent that we expect better from these corporations. I'm not sure what closed-door discussions have occurred, but the outcome is evident and apparent. The corruption is visible to the naked eye of the observer, the public, the city of Fayetteville. Just like the decisions you make here in public, we can all see you. We are watching you, and the decisions you make affect us directly. Please make your decisions with integrity, no matter how much money they show you. And now that I actually have a little bit of additional time, I would like to bring up some other things, because people believe that closed loop systems are the answer. They are not the answer. As the lovely lady right before me said, the closed loop systems flush wastewater, contaminated wastewater, back into our waterways, which is the exact same problem as what Chemours, aka DuPont, did to us. We're not asking for you to stop it. We've made that very clear. We're not even asking to have no data centers. We've put that aside. We're just asking for a moratorium. We're just asking to slow down and to pause and to let us build the legislation to protect us, to protect you guys, your families, your children, your grandchildren who are in this community. I don't want to have to leave my hometown because it becomes unlivable. And it's getting that way really fast, and I'm scared. Can we just please slow it down? That's all I ask you guys. Thank you very much for your time.
Madam Clerk.
Mayor, our next speaker is Miss Amber Rossi.
Good evening, Ms. Ross.
Hello. Today I argue that this council and big tech have no right to create a monopoly on water. That is a humanitarian crisis and a human rights violation. A monopoly on water is exactly what will happen by welcoming this data center leech into Fayetteville. You are condemning our future by allowing big corporations to steal our very source of life. We deserve to live in with the same fresh, clean water, food, and land like our peers, like you guys got the chance to do before us. At this rate, we will run out of water in 5 years. In 5 years, I won't even be 30. So what's the plan? What are we doing? What kind of life are you guys giving to the younger generation? Data centers also cause a plethora of health problems, from giving babies heart palpitations to causing cattle to be stillborn. They also create a perfect environment to harvest bacteria, and once our water supply is tainted, it is over. We are already seeing reports of power outages because of these data centers. We're already in a drought. Our lakes here in North Carolina are already running dry. Where's this water coming from for these data centers you want to welcome in? Where's the water going to come from? It will come from all of us in this room. No good deal is worth sacrificing our lives for. We deserve to live in a country that prioritizes real humans over AI, profit, and control. Billionaires do not deserve to call all the shots for every living human and animal. We are tired of their input. AI is not the future. We are. And I'm quite tired of hearing the latter. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening, Council. My name is Barbara Thrasher. I'm going to talk really fast because I have a lot to say. I have lived in Fayetteville for only the past 4 years, but it's grown near and dear to my heart, and I'm a current resident recently of Hope Mills. But I do work and pour my heart in Fayetteville District Number 9. I'm speaking to express, like many people before, my perspective and displeasure regarding potential data center development, to include the UDOs being considered, which, as many in the community have noted, do not provide nearly enough protections. Council members, I most want to ask, what is your priority? Mayor Colvin in particular, I would love to know why we're seeing so much resistance to a moratorium, which most of us feel is needed to take that time to make the right decisions. I think you've heard that all night tonight. If we do allow data center development and we take the time, that's one thing. Otherwise, it seems like, aren't we just asking for another short-sighted mess that this city has to react to? Shouldn't we be proactive here, not reactive? And individually, I ask each of you to really reflect. Are you prioritizing protecting the people who live, work, and raise families right here? Because I'll be honest, some of you, I absolutely would say yes. And some of you, it doesn't seem like it. I'll add that many of us, myself included, realize an out-and-out ban on data center development is a state decision. Many of us are fighting that fight as well. I realize some of the members of council believe a moratorium would open up the city to a lawsuit. I call BS. There are too many good lawyers advocating and making this happen across the country. My ask of you, figure it out. You signed up for this when you ran for council. The citizens of Fayetteville deserve better. Clearly, some work and research has been done in regards to this, as we've spent many, many meetings here. It seems many of you feel, well, good enough. I'm telling you it is not. The community is telling you it is not. Fayetteville deserves better. Data centers require massive resources, and we need concrete safeguards before any project moves forward. I sincerely ask the council to zoom out of this current push and pull and consider the following. We'll go real quick. We need absolute transparency. Speaks for itself. We insist on ethical environmental practices and not just the illusion of environmental protection. Data centers are notorious for their immense consumption of electricity and water. You've heard it all night. I'll spare you my paragraph. I'm not against progress. Most of us are not. I'm not against progress at the expense of I'm against it at the expense of my own quality of life, of my neighbor's quality of life, of my students' quality of life. Honestly, at your quality of life. We are all looking at you, our elected officials, to put the community first. The community's showing up. We're telling you we deserve better.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Mayor, our next speaker is Mr. Joshua Reed.
Madam Clerk, what are we looking like on time?
Mr. Reed is our 20th speaker. That will be an hour.
All right, good evening.
Good evening. My name is Joshua Reed. I'm a lifelong resident and a member of the Communist Party USA. For several months now, the people of Fayetteville, North Carolina, have been loudly outspoken about their opposition to the construction of a mega AI data center, a project we now know has been in the works since as early as last fall, even though we found out about it in early spring. Residents were quick to educate themselves about what the project would mean for them and their community. And the more they learned, the more they became increasingly unwell in their hearts and minds. The information that is readily available from legal and environmental experts, as well as testimonies from working people whose lives have been directly impacted by data center construction, affirm what the people of Fayetteville have been saying from the start. Data center construction is not good for the people. However, it is obvious that the people of this city are not being prioritized. And we're not stupid. We know you don't care. Especially you, Councilperson Hondros, as it is your real estate firm that could experience tremendous profit from the development. We are calling you out and we are angry.
Sir, don't call names. Just have your peace, but let's keep it respectful.
You'll hate this part. Well, you, Mayor, rather than listen to the people of Fayetteville, you have silenced dissent and chosen corporate greed over this city. You have prioritized private contractors over your own neighbors. You claim to be a voice for Black people, but you are ushering in a development that disproportionately subjects people of color to unlivable conditions. And the majority of you have followed suit. Perhaps some of you genuinely do care for the people of Fayetteville, but truth be told, your silence has conveyed a message of indifference. Your seeming lack of consideration for the people has built a wall of distrust in all of us, and it is up to each of you, council members and mayor, to earn back our trust. Earn our trust. If we do not get our way next week on the 10th, if City Council chooses to throw us to the wolves that are billion-dollar firms and corporations, the people of the city, we will not shut up. I know that's what you'd prefer. I know. But we are not in the habit of staying obedient to corrupt leadership. And we are not under the guise that doing nothing but vote for someone will solve this issue. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. All right, Madam Clerk.
Mayor, we have reached 1 hour. We have 7 speakers left, and per policy, I do need to summarize the 4 written comments that we have.
Okay. Let's do the comments because that's per our policy, and then.
All right, so Mr. Kevin Slim did provide comments. He is concerned about the drone center that is the Ukrainian drone center that's coming in and the manufacturer, and who the plant manager is, if they are American or Ukrainian, and if there is integration, and if there is a Russian plant manager here as well. Then we have Miss Gail Onat. She would like to speak in regards to the future identity of Fayetteville, and she says that cities build brands, narratives, and visions that attract talent, investment, and pride. And with Fayetteville, we have history, diversity, and potential, but our communication still reflects where we've been and not where we're going. And we need to modernize our brand, logo, and slogan. Ms. Bobby Burgess stated that the public deserves a moratorium, that the public has repeatedly expressed desire for a moratorium, and that she requests the vote of no to the UDO and to allow for a moratorium. And she stated she will see everyone next week at the public hearing. Then we have, let me pass this one. I'm sorry. Then we have Ms. Cynthia Leaks. She stated on July 16th, Fayetteville Freedom for All hosted a working group community town hall on the proposed data centers in UDO. There were working groups of 5 citizens each that reviewed sections of the UDO. And although the UDO is a working document, these of understanding was quite difficult to follow as it does not flow to reflect the high standards our city can offer to citizens for this massive project. And she requests a 12-month moratorium be activated immediately, and that she is in agreement with what has been submitted by the concerns of residents. And that is our 4 written comments, sir.
All right. All right. Councilmember McMillan.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. I'd like to make a motion that council extend the time for public forum in order to hear the remaining speakers tonight.
All right, it's a motion by Councilmember McMillan. All right. Motion fails. Is that a second? Second by Jones. Okay, discussion.
Yes, I can chime in on that. Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Quickly, yes, sir.
Yeah, so we cut off public forum last time. This was back in June's meeting. And what I found out later is that there were people who were non-residents that were directly impacted by data center plans. Can go back to last year, September, there's a pre-application in the community of Eastover that directly impacts people living on that land and adjacent lands. And instead of looking at this as a resident issue, we need to make space for people in neighboring towns. One of the things we also found out is that through connecting to BWC, those lands could be annexed to the city. So I think it will be best practice for us from now on to not discriminate against non-residents, to allow voices. Also, I want to note that when we want to, we make all kinds of special meetings. We were making special meetings even in July when we were supposed to be on vacation. The least we could do is make time to hear from our residents.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember McMillan. All right. So, Council, look to you for action on that. You had a comment?
Yes, sir.
All right. Before we vote, Councilman here.
I try not to say anything, but I was so disappointed. Regardless, I had to say, make my peace. I have been an elected official for 24 years. I have done my best to serve the citizens in District 4 and all of Fayetteville for 24 years. Never, I haven't heard it to my ears, where anyone has stood before me and told me I was corrupt. I have been in business for 46 years. I have been in small business in this town. I consider that a disrespectful statement towards me, and I wanted you all to know that I did not like it personally, Mayor. That was all I wanted to say.
All right. Wait. Listen. All right. we established at the beginning that we're going to get through this process, and we've done well. Let's not go off the rails at the end. But any further disruptions, you'll be asked to leave. No exceptions. All right. So there's a motion on the floor, and council, I'll look to you before you vote. All right. 5-5. Motion fails. All right. So we will conclude the public forum. We will get back and give a 5-minute break. We will begin the remainder of our meeting. Absolutely. See you later, sir. Thank you. All right. We'll take a recess.
We gonna rise up till it's won. We gonna rise up till it's won. When the people rise up, the powers come down. When the people rise up, the powers come down. They try to stop us, but we keep coming back. They try to stop us, but we keep coming back. They try to stop us, but we keep coming back.